What's up, guys? In today's video, my goal is to teach you Python conditional statements. Now, we're going to start off by learning if statements, then we're going to move on to else if statements, which are known as elif statements in Python. And then we're going to finish it off with the else statement. Now, this video is going to be a very simple but very helpful video to those of you who have not done Python conditional statements and to those of you wanting to revise your skills. Now, let's get started. We're going to start off by creating our code file, which we're going to call main.py. Now, I've done this in the terminal right now, and as you can see, it has been created right here. Now, we're going to obviously start off with some simple basics. Now, what we're going to be creating in this video is actually just a calculator application that's going to have a lot of simple applications of mathematics. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna wanna do is create our variables that are gonna hold our signs or hold our user inputs. Okay, so we're gonna have a variable called num1. Now, this is actually not even the if statements yet. We're just creating the basic knowledge that we need to have. Okay, so num1 is gonna be we're gonna say input function. Okay, so input, now we need to make sure that this is an integer. Okay, so we're going to turn this number into an integer. So we're going to say int input, right? And then in the input, we're going to put enter your first number, your first number right here. Okay, then we're gonna give the user space to do that. Okay, so the reason why I'm having the integer here is because what the user is gonna enter input actually gives us back a string. Okay, and we don't want a string. So after the user has entered the string, we're gonna then change it into an integer. Okay, so then we're gonna ask the user to add another number, num2. Okay, so we're only gonna give them an option to do operations between two numbers. Okay, so we're gonna do the exact same thing here. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and then I'm gonna paste it there. Okay, so I'm gonna say integer your second number here. That's the only thing I'm gonna change, your second number. Okay, cool. And we call this num2, which everything is fine. In the middle here, we need to ask a user to enter a sign. Okay, so we're gonna say, let me put it right in the middle. Okay, sign is equal to, we're gonna say int, not int, it's not an integer anymore. Actually, we're just gonna say input. Okay, so we're gonna say input, select operation, right? Operation like this. Okay. So after we ask them to select operation, we're gonna give them the options that they have. Okay. So option number one will obviously be a plus. So the reason why we're using single quotes instead of double quotes is because we're already using double quotes to actually um show that this is a string. Okay, so we can't use double quotes inside and outside of one string. So inside we have to use single quotes. Okay, so if we wanted to use double quotes inside, we should have used single quotes outside. Okay, so we're gonna say plus. Right, cool. Now that we have this, okay, let's then move on into creating our Python conditionals or Python calculator, should I say. So, first of all, let's start off by explaining what if statements are. Okay, so an if statement is what is known as a conditional statement. So, it only runs when a certain condition is met. Okay, so if a condition that is being evaluated is true, then the conditional statement will run, the condition will run. Otherwise, if the condition being evaluated is false, then the loop will, I mean, not the loop, the conditional statement will not run. Okay, so let's say, for example, we say 2 is equal to 1. That is definitely not true, right? So whatever is inside, okay, whatever is inside that if statement will not run because 2 is not equal to 1. But if we say that 2 is greater than 1, whatever is inside the if statement will run because 2 is greater than 1, right? Cool. So that's what an if statement does. Now let's just write that if statement here, ho ho. So I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do exactly here. So we have asked the user to enter their first number and then we ask the user to enter the second number. So what we're gonna simply do here is we're gonna say that we're gonna first do just the addition. Okay, so addition, we're gonna say if sign is equal to, we're gonna put double quotes, because this, remember, this is a string. Okay, so whatever the user is going to enter, there is going to be a string. So we need to evaluate it as a string. So if sign is equals to plus, then we're going to say num1, right, underscore 1 plus plus num underscore 2. Okay, underscore 2. And then we're just gonna say print that, because that will be the answer, right? Print that right there. Okay, and then right here, this actually will run if we select the plus sign. Okay, so let's just run this code to see if it works. Okay, so let's say num1 is 2, num2. Okay, now we're gonna select the sign. We're gonna select plus here, right? Okay, plus, and then we're gonna say num2 is also 2, and the answer should be 4. As we can see it right here, the answer is 4. That is great. That shows that our Python code is actually working. Okay, so now that you've seen how the if statement works, we're gonna go move on to the else if statement. So else if is written in Python as elif. Okay, that stands for else if. So we're gonna say else if. Now this is where we put another condition again. So if this first condition is false, we're basically telling Python only move on if this is false. Okay, so if the sign is not equal to plus, then move on. Otherwise, if the sign is equal to plus, do what it says there and end the program. Okay, and then um, if it's not equal to plus, it's obviously gonna move on to the next statement, which is gonna be elif at this point. Otherwise, if I were to put an if statement, just an if statement after this if statement, what it would actually do is it would first run this statement here, okay? And then after this is done, whether it's true or it's false, it will move on to the next if, okay? In this case, it wouldn't make any difference, but then when it comes to memory, that uses up your memory, makes your program way slower than it actually should be. So on the next one, we're gonna just say elif sign is then equal to this time we're gonna check if it's equal to minus, okay, not underscore, minus, and then if the sign is equal to minus, we're just gonna do the same thing that we did here, which is print that, and then we're just gonna say minus 0. Okay, cool. So let's just run that and see what happens. So we're gonna run that. We're gonna say the first number is 3. We're gonna choose a minus, and then sorry, we're gonna choose 3 again. So that should give us 0. Okay, there we go. It gives us 0. That works. Now we're gonna move on to the next one again, which is gonna be the elif again, because we're running or four different conditionals here. Okay, so elif again. We're gonna do almost the same one, which is gonna be sign is equal to this time we're gonna check if the sign is divide. Okay, so we're gonna say divide, which is forward slash. There we go, and then we're gonna say colons, and then we're gonna paste this line once again, but this time we're gonna say num1 divided by num2. Okay, cool. That should work as well. I'm not gonna test it just now because I mean we know how it's supposed to work. So we're gonna put another elif. Sorry about that. So elif sign once again is equal to with this time we're gonna say multiply, which is that. We're gonna paste that same function that we have been doing. This time we're gonna say multiply. Okay, cool. Okay, okay. This will always give us an integer, not always actually will give us whatever the answer will be. But then we're not gonna run it now. But then we're gonna have the else here, okay, which is the final condition. Okay. Now this one basically, if all of these here have been tested and come out false, what it does is it just prints out this. Okay, so this is the last resort. So whatever happens on top, if that um is not met, okay, it will just come to the out statement, print whatever it says. Okay, so here, if it comes here, then we definitely know that the user has not inputted the correct operation. Okay, so here we're gonna say a print, right, and then we're gonna say, yeah, so you entered an incorrect operation. Yeah. So basically, now let's run this. Okay, let me just show you what exactly I'm saying. Okay, cool. So we're gonna say 4, and then we're gonna say unknown, which is out at this point, and then we're gonna say by 2, and we're gonna get you entered an incorrect operation. Okay, cool. So what we could do, we could put this in a while loop as well to keep it going. But we're not gonna do that. I think this is enough for this lesson. Uh, yeah, it was just based on teaching you guys operations. Okay, so let's go back to the top again and explain everything. Okay, so here we ask the user to enter a number, which will be the first number, and then we ask the user to enter a sign, which is the operation they would like to complete, and then we ask the user to enter a second number, which would obviously be turned into an integer by this int at the back here. Okay, cool. So let's actually just change this into a float to make it usable for almost anything that you want to use it for. Okay, we're just gonna change this into floats. This would just give us our answers in floating points form, which would be something point zero. You can change it to integer here if you want, really. It doesn't matter. But this would just make it usable for all purposes. Okay, so cool. Now, I hope you guys learned how to actually build this very simple but um, effective conditionals in Python. Let me tell you now, you're going to be using this a lot. As you will see in my next video, I actually used conditional statements to do to build the password checker application that I built. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you do subscribe and enjoy the contents. Leave the like on the video, and see you next time. Cheers.